Hi guys, in this video we're going to talk about how to take an isometric shape and make an orthographic projection of it, where we can show our front view, side view, and top view in separate sections of the graph paper and kind of break up the shape. So as you can see here in the top right hand corner, we have an isometrically drawn shape. Okay, so we have isometric graph paper, and you can see here's our shape. We can see the front, the side, and the top view on that 30-degree angle to the horizon line. So before we start sort of drawing our orthographic projection, there's a few things that we need to do to the isometric view to make sure that we draw this correctly. Just one thing to mention before we get started. The scale, 1 square is equal to 1/4 inch, doesn't become important until we actually dimension the orthographic projection. In this video, we're just going to draw the orthographic projection, and we'll dimension it in a separate video. So for this video, you need to know that each one of the squares on the isometric shape is equal to one of the squares on the orthographic graph paper. Okay, so let's go ahead and start by looking at our isometric view and figuring out our front, our side, and our top views on that. Our front view is going to be the view that shows the most details of the shape, which is going to be this view right here. So I'm going to go ahead and label that front. Okay. Our side view is going to be our right side view, which would be over here. And then we have our top view, which would be on the top. Okay. Now when we go to draw an orthographic projection, you know, like you've learned in class, that the front, the side, and the top view have a very specific place that they go. We don't put front, top, and side in different places. They're always in the same place. So in the bottom left-hand corner, we're going to label this front, because that's where our front view goes. To the right side of our front view is our side view. So we'll label that side. And above our front view is going to be the top view. So go ahead and label top. Great. Now that we have our sections of graph paper oriented with labels, we can go ahead and get started. So the next step on your isometric view here is to figure out how many boxes each dimension is, or each section. So here's the width. We're going to start with the width. And if you were to sit here and count all of these up, you would come to the conclusion that between this point and this point on the shape, there are 24 squares. Okay. That 24 squares is going to be equal to the 24 squares we make down here. Now we can continue to go all the way around the shape and count up all the squares. So we'll go clockwise here and go up to the height. So if we're talking in terms of squares, the height would be 8 squares. Okay. Now we have the depth. The depth is also going to be 8 squares. This whole piece here would be 24 squares, but we want to break it up into sections because we have these little steps that come down. And those are going to be important when we go to draw our orthographic projection. So from this corner to here is going to be 8 squares. Okay. And this corner to this corner is going to be 8 squares. And then this corner to this corner is going to be 8 squares. Now if you notice, there are two sections, 1 and 2, the two steps that we didn't label. Those are each 2 squares apiece. Okay, so it drops down 2 squares. And then we have another step here from this corner down to the bottom of the shape, which is going to be 4 squares. And then the last measurement we have is the depth again, which of course would measure this number here because this depth is the same as this depth in the shape, which is 8 squares. Now remember, we are talking in squares here, not in inches. Okay. So let's go ahead and start with the front view. We're always going to start by drawing the front view first. And as you can see, our longest dimension here, the width, is going to be 24 squares. This is a pretty large shape to fit on this graph paper. It does fit, but in order to make it fit, I'm going to start all the way over here on the end. And I'm going to count 24 squares out and draw my line. So let's go ahead and start with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Once you've got your 24 squares, make your line. And great. Now we have our width, 24 squares. Next up, I'm going to go 8 squares up in height. Come over here, count out 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Connect my lines. Notice how I'm doing my best to make sure these lines are incredibly straight. You want everything to be very precise when you're making these orthographic projections, so that if you were to give your blueprints to somebody else, they would be able to follow them easily. Okay, so now I need to start with my 8 square boxes, which have 2 steps going down. So we're going to count out 8 going over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's going to go over to the corner. And then we need to come 2 boxes down for our step. 1, 2. And we're just going to continue that pattern. 8 over, 2 down. Now if we did this correctly and made our counting correct, this line should end right here and be 8 boxes. And it looks like we're right on point here. So now if you can see, I have 4 boxes here for that dimension, and I've got 4 boxes right here. So let's connect those 2 lines. And I have successfully drawn the front view of this object. So up next, we're going to start with the side view. And what I want to make sure that I do here is that I go far enough over to leave enough room to draw the entire side view on the graph paper, as well as leave myself some room for dimensioning. Okay, I don't want to start drawing my side view just 2 boxes away. Okay, so I'm actually going to draw my side view, let's go 7 boxes away. So as you can see, my side view is right here. So you can think of the side view as if you were standing on the side of the object and looking at it from this perspective. What would you see? All right, so you would see this box, you'd see this box, and you'd see this box. So let's count over 7 boxes, and then we'll start drawing our line, which will be 8 boxes wide. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to start my line right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Okay. So now I have 8 boxes wide. My total height of my shape is going to be 8. So we're going to go up 8 on each side, and then connect them back together. Now we can connect them. Good. Now, if you notice, if I'm standing here on the side of the object looking at it, this is not exactly what I'm going to see. There's a step or a line right here and right here, and I would see those two lines. So what I'm going to do is start from the top, because this line right here is represented by that line, and I'm going to count down 2 boxes and draw another line. So 1, 2, and I'm going to draw an object line. This is an object line, not a hidden line, because I can see the line. Okay, so now I need to come down. This is another 1, 2. And draw my line. And now I've completed my side view. Please notice how the front view and the side view, the bottom line is on the same line of graph paper. You want to think about your orthographic projections as your shape unfolding on the same lines. So I wouldn't want to take this side view and draw it up here. I want everything to be lined up very nice on the same lines. So having said that, when I draw my top view, this portion will be up here. Again, it'll be on the same 2 lines, so everything's lined up correctly. So let's go ahead and start drawing the top view. Now the top view is what the shape's going to look like from the top. So I like to think about it as, well, what would this shape look like if I was flying in my fighter jet over top of the shape? What would I see? And well, I would basically see these 3 squares. So we're going to go ahead and start drawing those. Now, as you remember, I have 7 boxes in between my front view and my side view. We're going to keep that consistent, and we're going to count up 7 boxes and then start drawing our top view. Okay, so let's go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm just going to put a little dot to remind myself that's where I start, that corner. Okay, so we'll start with width. How wide is the shape? Well, you probably already know that because you drew it out. It's 24 boxes. So as you can see here, it's on this line. Here's 24. We can just line them up real easy, and we don't even need to count. 24. Good. All right. The depth of our shape is 8 boxes. So we're going to go up 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Same thing on the other side. 8 boxes. And then we just need to make the line that comes across the back end. Good. Now, I'm not done with my top section yet. As you can see, we have these step downs. And if I was directly over top of the object, I wouldn't know that those are steps that come down in increments. But I would see a line there. So what we're going to do is we're going to count over from the corner 8 boxes, draw a line, and then another 8 boxes, and draw another line to represent this line here and this line here. Perfect. Now we've completed our orthographic projection. We have our front view, our side view, and our top view. And as you can see, every view is lined up on the same lines and they are equally spaced. So in the next video, we're going to stay with this shape and we're going to start to dimension it using this scale of 1 square is equal to 1/4 inch. So see you in the next video, and let me know if you have any questions in class.